My name is Anika. Why did she make me sleep on the kitchen floor? The first night I thought it was a test. But the nights turned into months and then years. I was young and new to the family. I had hope in a small bag. My husband said nothing. He sat on the sofa and watched. I felt betrayed and weak. I had no voice in the house. The lamp in the kitchen was my only light. I kept a thin blanket and a small pillow. I put my face to the cold tile and I counted the breaths of the house. Each breath was a secret. Each morning I smiled for guests. At night I cried quietly so the child in the next room would not wake. I kept one small secret. I wanted to be strong. I wanted to find the truth. My name is Anika. I married Rohan when I was 22. The wedding was small and bright. My parents gave me an old heirloom ring. I brought the ring to our home. The house was large and full of family photos. My mother-in-law, Savita, smiled at first. I thought she liked me. The first night she told me to sleep in a small room. The room had a thin mattress on the floor. The room smelled old and musty. I said, I can sleep in the bed. She laughed and shook her head. No, she said. This is better for you. I felt strange. My husband, Rohan, did not say a word. He looked at his mother and then at me. He chose his mother. I felt a small cut inside me. I did not speak about it. The days passed. I woke early. I cooked. I cleaned the house. I learned to hide my tears. I remembered my childhood bedroom and my mother's warm hands. I missed home. Once I found an old box in the attic. The box had letters and a small photo. The photo showed Savita when she was young. She looked happy. I read a letter. The letter spoke about inheritance and a will. A name was crossed out. I did not understand. I felt like I found a secret. I kept the letters in my sari. The next night Savita called me to the kitchen. She spoke loudly. She called me lazy. She said I did not know house rules. I bowed my head and said, sorry. Her words cut like small knives. Later that night I heard voices in the living room. Rohan and his sister, Meera, spoke of money. They spoke of the will. Meera called me weak. Meera said I wanted the heirloom ring. I felt betrayed. How could they say this? I slept on the floor and I kept the old letters. I wanted to tell Rohan the truth. I wanted him to see the letters. I wanted him to be my husband again. The next morning I tried to show him the photo. He took the letters and put them back in the box. His hand trembled. He said, "This is family business." I asked, Why did you let her make me sleep on the floor? He did not answer. He left the room. I felt alone. I kept the small secret in my corda pocket. I told myself I would wait and watch. I would learn the truth. At night I wished for a sign. At dawn I wished for courage. The house kept its breath and its silence. I felt a time in my chest, like a clock waiting for change. My name is Anika. The days began to repeat in my mind like a loop. I woke and I made tea. I heard the same words, the same scold. One night I woke and felt the same cold on my cheek. I thought I saw the same moon. I said to myself, is this my life now? The loop in my mind gave me time to remember. I closed my eyes and I returned to a small childhood memory. I was 7. My father taught me to read a letter slowly. He said, read the truth. I opened my eyes and I decided to read the letters again. I took the box from the attic at midnight. The house was quiet. I opened the letters on the kitchen table. My hands shook. The letters spoke of a hidden will. The will said the oldest son would get half the house. The will also said that if the son left, the daughter could be heir. I felt the word heir move in my chest. I read one more line. It said, if my daughter returns, she will get the heirloom and the house. I thought of Mira. She was estranged from her child. She had left the city years ago. Why did Mira now speak of the will with a loud voice? I slid the letters back in the box and I hid them in my pillow. I wanted proof. The next day I tried to speak with Mira. I asked about the will. She smiled and lied. The will is old and not important, she said. Her eyes were small and quick. I wondered if someone changed the will. I felt a cold fear. That evening I heard Savita cry in the attic. I climbed the stairs. I found Savita by an old trunk. She held a small wooden box. She opened it and she cried over letters. She looked small and alone. In that moment I saw her differently. She was not only a hard woman. She had a history. I heard whispers in my head. I had a sense of time folding back. I saw a flashback of a younger Savita leaving her childhood home. I saw her holding a baby. I heard a voice say, "Family must protect itself." The flashback ended. I stepped back. Savita did not see me. I watched her touch an old photograph. The photo was of a girl and a baby. The baby looked like a child I had once seen at a reunion. The child had Rohan's eyes. My heart beat fast. I realized the family story was larger than me. There were secrets about custody and divorce years ago. I wanted to ask Rohan, but I feared his silence. I felt trapped in the loop of days. Each day gave me one small clue. Each night gave me one small fear. I learned to hide and to observe. I wrote notes in a small diary. I kept the diary under the kitchen tile. The notes said who spoke and what the words meant. One night I found a key taped under the table. The key had a small mark. I did not know what it opened. The key was like a small hope. I put it in my corda pocket and I slept on the kitchen floor with a new thought. Maybe time was a loop that would end with one key. My name is Anika. The key felt heavy in my hand. I found a small door behind the shelf in the living room. The door was low and old. I used the key. The lock clicked. Inside I saw papers and a small box. My heart leapt. I opened the box. Inside was a will and a faded photograph. The will had a clear line about inheritance. It said the house goes to the true heir. It named a child I did not know. The photograph had a young woman and a baby. The young woman looked like Savita. The baby had Rohan's eyes. I felt my breath stop. I understood. Mira had left because of a fight. She had a child and she left the family city. The will said if the child returns, the child would be heir. I ran to the living room. Rohan sat and read a newspaper. I put the will on the table. I said, "Read this." He looked at the paper. His face changed. He said, "Where did you find this?" I said, "In your house. Behind the shelf." He stood up and his hands shook. He called his mother. Savita came slowly. I told them everything. I said, "You made me sleep on the floor. You lied to me. I found the will. The will changes the story." Savita's face went white. She sank into a chair. Mira came home that day. She had been at a reunion and she had a child. She came with a small bag and tired eyes. She said, "I never broke this family. I left to keep my child safe." The room grew loud. Mira spoke of a divorce and an old fight. She spoke of a custody battle years ago. She said the family had hidden the will. She said, "We all made choices for fear." Rohan looked at his hands. He said, "I was afraid of losing respect." I stayed quiet. I felt both pain and relief. The house felt like a stage and we were actors. The truth cut through the walls. Savita cried and said, "I was angry and I wanted control." She said she had been poor as a child. She wanted security for her family. I listened. I did not feel the same anger as before. I felt a slow calm. I had the proof. The will changed the plan. The family had to fix the wrongs. Neighbors came and the news moved fast. Some people blamed me. Some people praised me. But the real change began at home. Rohan sat with me and held my hand. He said, "I am sorry I watched. I will help you now." I looked at him. I remembered the nights I slept on the floor. I remembered counting the house breaths. I felt a small fire inside me. I knew I had earned the right to speak. I knew I had the strength to ask for respect and a place in the home. The family began to talk honestly. We spoke about the will and the heirloom ring. We spoke about custody and the child who returned. We spoke about an attic full of secrets. At last, there was a long pause. Then Mira said, "I want a reunion with the child who left me long ago." The room softened. I felt the loop break. The nights on the floor felt like a test I had passed. The secret was out and the house would never breathe the same again. My name is Anika. The truth changed many lives. The will went to the judge. The judge asked good questions. In the end, the family found a fair plan. Mira and her child returned to the house. Savita said sorry to me in front of the family. Rohan asked for my forgiveness. I forgave him. I did not forget the nights on the kitchen floor. I used my pain to teach me strength. I asked for a small room near the window. I put my maroon kurta by the bed. I kept the heirloom ring on my finger. The house found new breath. We had a small reunion in the garden. We spoke of childhood and of choices. I learned to speak my truth in a calm voice. I learned that secrets can hurt and that truth can heal. The lesson is simple. Do not hide the truth. Do not accept abuse in silence. If you find a secret, follow it with care. You can be small and still find strength. I kept my diary and the key in a drawer. I wrote, I was brave. I found the will. I found my voice. To all who learn English with this story, remember this: your words have power. Use them to protect yourself and those you love. The house is not perfect now, but we try each day. We choose truth. We choose love. We choose a better life.